My name is Elizabeth Fair, and this is my online learning theory presentation for Educational Technology 5320. I am pursuing a graduate degree in Educational Technology, and this is my first semester. I received my undergraduate in Interdisciplinary Studies in 2008 and have yet to teach a classroom as a primary teacher. However, I work as a special education aide, and it is one of the more influential jobs of my so far short life, as I've had the opportunity to serve a large variety of classrooms and see learning from many different angles. I am primarily pursuing a degree in Educational Technology due to my passion for learning. I believe we should stay current with our students in any way possible. I'm also entering the field as a technology educator for my own pleasure and selfish purpose, as I love technology and would love to have the opportunity to use it every day to the fullest extent possible. That being said, I do have some reservations about the ongoing role it plays in the classroom, and it is my goal to educate myself so that I may help others find the correct places for technology's use. Genuine, authentic student learning is the goal that we all strive for as teachers, but how do we do that? According to research, there are a variety of ways that we can instill knowledge in our younger generation. 3 learning theories that I personally subscribe to are what I like to call the 3 C's: cognitivism, constructionism, and connectivism. All these learning theories have a place in my classroom now and into the future. Cognitivism began in the late 1950s as an answer to the input-output format of behaviorism. Cognitivism attempts to explain how people understand material. As an answer to behaviorism, cognitivism seeks not to break learning into very discrete parts of input and output, but to describe the whole of the learning process, from input to internal processes and then to the varieties of output as shown in Bloom's taxonomy. It is an information processing model. Cognitivism asserts that there is a process and a method to all learning that exists within us, and that the entirety of our learning ability is produced within. In cognitivism, the teacher is a guide, an essential, necessary, and critical component of the classroom. The teacher is responsible for presenting information in the best way possible to facilitate the best learning. But ultimately, it is the student who is most responsible for their learning, and their personal and unique processes define what will be learned. Knowledge, in terms of cognitivism, is absolute. To me, this is one of the more troubling aspects of this idea, because not all knowledge is absolute. As a student advances into literature, arts, and social sciences, they come to find that there is rarely a definitive answer. How can knowledge be absolute when it is used to synthesize, analyze, and present new ideas? Another theory which I try and bring into my classroom is constructivism. Another component of the larger theory of cognitivism, constructivism attempts to explain how students construct or build knowledge. A large proponent and frontrunner of this theory is Vygotsky, most noted for his 2 pieces of learning theory that I actively use in my classroom today: the more knowledgeable other and the zone of proximal development. Vygotsky and other researchers like him state that community plays a large part in meaning making, or in other words, your environment affects your beliefs. Indeed, Vygotsky's title of his premier research article is Mind in Society, which implies that our minds and our lives are interconnected with the communities that we live in. We can see that this is plain and obvious in any of our classrooms. While most would expect that the more knowledgeable other that Vygotsky talks about would be a teacher, this is not always so. More knowledgeable other is anyone or anything that can be more knowledgeable and be used as a guide to learning. Want to learn how to skateboard? Just ask a buddy who's better at it, and he becomes a more knowledgeable other. Want to fix the math problem you got wrong? Ask your classmates, and if they can point out the flaw in your work, then they have become the more knowledgeable other who facilitates your learning. If you want to find out how to make spaghetti, you can look a recipe up on the internet. Then that recipe and website becomes the more knowledgeable other. The reason that resources, programs, and other non-human entities can become a more knowledgeable other is due to the idea that these things are repositories of knowledge, not necessarily of learning. Learning is an internal process that can only be helped, not produced by another. The zone of proximal development related to scaffolding is another idea that teachers use quite frequently, and one that I truly believe all teachers can be successful in utilizing. The idea is that we give students work or challenges that are exactly within their ability. Hard enough that it is a challenge, easy enough that it is not a struggle that makes them want to give up. I believe that all teachers are tasked with this, and it is a struggle for us as well to diagnose and prescribe work to meet this zone of proximal development. This is one aspect of learning that artificial intelligence is able to address. As described in Prensky's Don't Bother Me, Mom, I'm Learning, predictive AI can diagnose the ZPD and make minute changes in this zone within seconds, rising to meet the given parameters of the game. I find this to be one of the most applicable uses of technology in the classroom, as diagnostic tools that can increase the teacher's chances of finding this zone and using it to effectively boost the learning of the students. The third theory that represents a part of my own personal theory is a relatively new term, connectivism. Another child of cognitivism and constructivism, connectivism is a theory espoused by George Sines. Out of all of them, I enjoy Sines' theory the best, in which he posits several ideas that I find to be critical. First, learning and knowledge rest in a diversity of opinions. Here he highlights that knowledge is not absolute. Second, learning is a process of connecting specialized nodes or information sources, which is a skill many of us wish our students can master. Thirdly, capacity to know is more important than what is currently known. And again, an idea that many teachers could relate to. I am not necessarily concerned with students memorizing facts or drilling tables, but more concerned with their ability to help themselves. Do students know how to access information that can help them? And when accessed, can they use this information to help build and construct their knowledge? Siemens' theory is specifically drawn to the use of the Internet and other media to apply the connectivity aspect. Web 2.0 and other networks give our students the ability to search between differing fields of thoughts, weigh and judge, and then develop their own opinion. Siemens also notices that many of these ideas are not absolute. They change as the knowledge's half-life, or time from when it was learned to when it becomes obsolete, also changes. While these theories could be seen as vastly different from each other, especially Siemens, I believe that they all share one key aspect, the idea that social interactions are highly influential on our learning processes. This holds true as you measure the sum of human history. Only when humans come together do we realize the full potential of our abilities, from making fire to building cities, to forming countries to designing the World Wide Web. Our uniqueness as social creatures who construct individuality from this chaos makes us human. So what does all this have to do with the classroom and my personal belief of learning? I believe that we should use technology in the classroom to bring us together. While some people suggest that technology is isolating us into selfish bundles of self-aggrandizement, I believe that this is not true. We should never forget the human aspect of technology, its powers to connect us across cultures and languages. We should not forget that it gives us tools to become better acquainted with ourselves, our interests, our beliefs, and our strengths. As a teacher, I hope to remember that computers may make access easier. It is my duty to preserve the human connectivity aspect, to use technology because it brings us closer, not farther apart.